Hello, and welcome. Today, we begin a whispered journey through time and myth, exploring some of the world's most intriguing and mysterious lost cities. For centuries, tales of lost cities have captivated the human imagination. From the ancient philosophers to modern-day explorers, these stories of forgotten civilizations, hidden treasures, and advanced societies have stirred our deepest curiosity. What happened to these cities? Were they real places that vanished in the mists of history, or are they simply legends passed down through the ages? And why do we continue to search for them long after they've disappeared? In this series, we will dive into the stories of some of the most famous lost cities in history: Atlantis, the legendary island of unparalleled beauty and wealth; El Dorado, the city of gold hidden deep in the South American jungles; the lost ruins of Machu Picchu, nestled high in the Andes Mountains; and many more. We will explore both the myths that surround them and the archaeological discoveries that have shed light on these ancient places. Some of these cities may have once stood proudly, only to be buried by time, natural disasters, or conquest, while others may remain hidden, their existence never proven but always a source of fascination. As we whisper through their histories, you'll be guided into the realms of myth, legend, and discovery. Prepare yourself for a journey through time, where we'll unravel the mysteries of these forgotten worlds and ponder the enduring allure of lost cities. Atlantis, Plato's enigmatic civilization. Few legends have captured the imagination of people throughout history quite like the tale of Atlantis. Introduced to the world by the ancient Greek philosopher Plato in his works Timaeus and Critias around 360 BCE, Atlantis was described as a vast and powerful civilization that existed thousands of years before Plato's time. Its people were wealthy, technologically advanced, and ruled over a massive empire that stretched beyond the Pillars of Hercules, the region we now call the Strait of Gibraltar. According to Plato, the island of Atlantis was swallowed by the sea in a single night, disappearing forever beneath the waves as a punishment for its hubris and moral decline. Atlantis was not just any ordinary civilization. Plato's description painted a picture of an idyllic society that had achieved greatness in all aspects: technology, culture, and governance. The island was said to be incredibly prosperous, with natural resources in abundance. Its capital city, built in concentric circles of water and land, was unlike any other. At the center stood a massive palace dedicated to Poseidon, the god of the sea, who was believed to be the divine founder of Atlantis. The city's canals, bridges, and impressive structures were the hallmarks of a highly advanced civilization. Atlantis was self-sufficient, producing all its own food and materials. It had rich soils for agriculture and impressive naval power, which allowed it to dominate surrounding territories. Plato's depiction of Atlantis spoke of a society in harmony with nature, where its rulers, the descendants of Poseidon, governed wisely and justly. For many years, Atlantis thrived, its people known for their virtues and commitment to justice. However, as the Atlanteans grew more powerful, they became greedy and corrupt, pursuing wealth and military conquest. In Plato's account, their moral decay led them to challenge Athens, which was seen as a virtuous and ideal city-state. The Athenians successfully resisted the Atlantean invasion, and the gods, angered by Atlantis' arrogance and moral failures, decided to punish the once great civilization. In a catastrophic event, Atlantis was swallowed by the ocean in a single day and night of earthquakes and floods, leaving behind nothing but legends of its former glory. Despite Plato's narrative being widely regarded as a philosophical allegory intended to illustrate the dangers of moral decay and the fall of great civilizations, many throughout history have speculated about the possible real existence of Atlantis. The story has given rise to countless theories, debates, and explorations. Some scholars believe that Plato's description may have been inspired by a true historical event, such as the destruction of the Minoan civilization on the island of Thera, modern-day Santorini, which was decimated by a massive volcanic eruption around 1600 BCE. This eruption caused tsunamis and other disasters that could have led to the sudden collapse of a flourishing culture. Others suggest that Atlantis could be based on memories of ancient cities that were lost to rising sea levels, such as the Black Sea flood theory, which proposes that a massive flood around 5600 BCE dramatically expanded the Black Sea, submerging early civilizations along its coast. Yet another theory suggests that Atlantis could have been a real civilization located in places as diverse as Spain, Malta, or the Caribbean. These locations, proponents argue, fit parts of Plato's descriptions, such as being beyond the Pillars of Hercules and subject to catastrophic natural events. For centuries, explorers, historians, and adventurers have sought to uncover the truth behind Atlantis. During the Age of Exploration, many believed that the newly discovered lands of the Americas might be the long-lost Atlantis. The Spanish explorer Francisco López de Gomara even proposed that South America was Atlantis in the 16th century. Later, during the 19th and early 20th centuries, archaeological discoveries across the Mediterranean and beyond reignited interest in finding Atlantis, with many claiming to have found traces of its ruins. In more recent times, modern technology has allowed oceanographers and archaeologists to explore previously unreachable depths of the sea, leading to even more speculation about underwater ruins that could be connected to Atlantis. The Bimini Road, an underwater rock formation off the coast of the Bahamas, was once thought by some to be remnants of Atlantis, though scientists have since debunked this theory. Nevertheless, the allure of finding Atlantis persists, as each new discovery prompts a fresh wave of excitement among those who dream of uncovering the lost city. Beyond the quest for Atlantis itself, the story has had a profound influence on Western culture. From the Renaissance to modern-day literature, Atlantis has been a symbol of utopian ideals, lost knowledge, and the downfall of human civilizations due to arrogance and greed. The tale has inspired countless works of fiction, including the writings of Francis Bacon in his work The New Atlantis and Jules Verne in 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea. Atlantis has also become a central theme in modern movies, television shows, and even comic books, where it often represents a lost paradise or a hidden civilization with advanced technology. One of the reasons Atlantis continues to captivate the human imagination is the mystery that surrounds it. Unlike other lost cities, Atlantis was never definitively proven to exist. The lack of physical evidence only adds to the allure, allowing people to project their own interpretations and desires onto the legend. For some, Atlantis represents the possibility that there is still much left to discover about our planet's ancient history. For others, it is a cautionary tale about the fragility of human greatness and the ever-present danger of moral decline. El Dorado, the City of Gold. The legend of El Dorado is one of the most enduring tales of adventure and wealth in the history of exploration. Unlike Atlantis, which was said to be an entire lost civilization, El Dorado was originally the name of a man, a golden king who, according to legend, ruled a city overflowing with unimaginable riches deep in the heart of the South American jungles. Over time, the story evolved, and El Dorado became synonymous not only with the mythical king but also with a lost city or kingdom made entirely of gold. The quest for this golden city spurred centuries of exploration, adventure, and ultimately, disappointment as treasure hunters and explorers searched in vain for its fabled wealth. The origins of the El Dorado myth can be traced back to the early 16th century, when Spanish conquistadors, having conquered the Inca Empire in what is now Peru, began hearing stories of a golden king who lived far to the north. According to these tales, the king of a powerful and wealthy indigenous people would cover himself in gold dust during rituals and bathe in Lake Guatavita in modern-day Colombia. This golden king, or El Hombre Dorado, the gilded man, performed these rituals to honor the gods, and the people of his kingdom were said to possess vast amounts of gold and precious jewels. This story of incredible wealth immediately captured the imaginations of the Spanish explorers, who had already witnessed the vast treasures of the Inca and Aztec civilizations. The conquistadors were determined to find El Dorado, believing that this lost city or kingdom of gold would make them even richer and more powerful than they already were. The search for El Dorado began in earnest in the 1530s, with numerous expeditions setting out into the untamed jungles, mountains, and rivers of South America, hoping to find the Golden City. One of the earliest and most famous expeditions was led by Gonzalo Jimenez de Quesada in 1536. He and his men traveled deep into the heart of the Colombian Andes, where they encountered the Muisca people, an indigenous civilization that practiced goldsmithing and held sacred rituals involving gold. The Muisca's traditions may have been the origin of the El Dorado legend, but Quesada and his men never found the golden city they sought. Despite the wealth of the Muisca, there was no hidden kingdom of endless riches to be discovered. The failure to find El Dorado did little to dampen the enthusiasm of other explorers. In 1541, the Spanish explorer Francisco de Orellana embarked on an epic expedition down the Amazon River in search of the fabled city. Orellana and his men faced incredible hardships, including starvation, attacks by indigenous tribes, and the treacherous conditions of the jungle. Though they discovered new lands and made contact with various indigenous groups, they never found any trace of El Dorado. Despite the failure, Orellana's journey marked the first recorded European navigation of the entire length of the Amazon River, a monumental achievement in itself. The legend of El Dorado continued to grow, and as it did, so did the ambitions of those who sought it. The myth spread beyond the confines of South America, with tales of a hidden city of gold inspiring expeditions as far north as the United States, where Coronado's search for the 7 cities of Cibola, another supposed set of cities filled with gold, ended in disappointment. Explorers from England, France, and the Netherlands joined the search, convinced that the Spanish had missed something or had been too hasty in their conclusions. One of the most famous adventurers to seek El Dorado was Sir Walter Raleigh, an English explorer, soldier, and writer who became obsessed with the idea of finding the city. In the late 16th century, Raleigh led 2 expeditions to South America, convinced that the lost city of gold lay somewhere in Guyana, modern-day Venezuela and Guyana. Raleigh believed El Dorado was located near the mythical Lake Parim, a massive body of water that supposedly held the secret to the city's riches. Despite Raleigh's confidence, his expeditions failed to uncover any trace of El Dorado, and he returned to England in disgrace. His fruitless search, however, helped to keep the legend alive, as Raleigh's detailed accounts of his journeys stirred imaginations across Europe. Despite centuries of exploration and the efforts of countless adventurers, no one has ever found El Dorado. The reasons for this are complex. Some historians believe that the legend of El Dorado was based on a misunderstanding or exaggeration of indigenous traditions, such as those practiced by the Muisca people. The ritual of the Golden King bathing in Lake Guatavita may have been real, but the idea of a city made entirely of gold likely grew out of a mixture of Spanish greed and indigenous myths. The Spanish, already conditioned by their encounters with the Aztecs and Incas, were eager to believe that there was another great civilization just waiting to be plundered. Others suggest that the geography of South America itself contributed to the persistence of the legend. The vast, unexplored jungles, rivers, and mountains created an environment where it was easy to imagine that a hidden city could exist just beyond the next ridge or deep within the next valley. Every time an expedition failed, it was easier to believe that they had simply been looking in the wrong place rather than admit that the city didn't exist at all. The legacy of El Dorado lives on today, not just as a symbol of the greed and ambition of the European explorers, but as a testament to the mystical allure of the unknown. Even in the modern world, where satellite imagery and advanced technology have mapped much of the Earth's surface, the idea that there might still be hidden cities, untouched by time, continues to fascinate us. The story of El Dorado has inspired countless books, films, and even video games, where treasure hunters set out on quests to find the lost city and its untold riches. The mysterious ruins of Machu Picchu. Hidden high in the Andes Mountains of Peru, the ancient city of Machu Picchu is one of the most breathtaking archaeological discoveries of the 20th century. Perched nearly 2,500 meters above sea level, this lost city remained unknown to the outside world for centuries until it was brought to international attention by American explorer Hiram Bingham in 1911. Since then, Machu Picchu has captured the imagination of historians, archaeologists, and travelers alike, becoming a symbol of the grandeur and mystery of the Inca Empire. Machu Picchu is thought to have been built in the 15th century during the reign of the Inca Emperor Pachacuti. It is located on a mountain ridge overlooking the Urubamba River, in a region known for its dramatic landscapes and terraced agricultural fields. Despite its relatively small size, Machu Picchu is a marvel of Inca engineering, with its precisely cut stone buildings, intricate irrigation systems, and agricultural terraces blending harmoniously with the surrounding natural environment. The city was constructed using a technique called ashlar masonry, where stones are fitted together without the use of mortar, an impressive feat, especially considering the seismic activity in the region. The exact purpose of Machu Picchu remains a topic of debate among scholars. Some believe it was a royal estate or a retreat for Inca emperors, while others suggest it may have had a religious or ceremonial function. The city's location, nestled between towering mountains and surrounded by lush forests, suggests that it may have held spiritual significance for the Incas, who believed that mountains, or apis, were sacred and inhabited by powerful deities. Machu Picchu's alignment with the sun and celestial events, such as the solstices, supports the theory that it was used for religious ceremonies or astronomical observations. One of the most striking features of Machu Picchu is its Intihuatana stone, a carved pillar located in a sacred area of the city. The name Intihuatana translates to hitching post to the sun, and it is believed that this stone served as a kind of sundial, used to mark important celestial events and track the movements of the sun. The Incas were skilled astronomers, and their knowledge of the skies played a central role in their religion and agricultural practices. During the winter solstice, the sun's position in the sky aligns perfectly with the Intihuatana, symbolically tethering the sun to ensure its return in the coming months. Machu Picchu's agricultural terraces, which cascade down the mountainsides, are another testament to the ingenuity of Inca engineering. These terraces were not only used to grow crops, but also helped prevent erosion and stabilize the steep slopes. The Incas cultivated a variety of crops at Machu Picchu, including maize, potatoes, and coca, taking advantage of the different microclimates created by the terraced fields. The city was also supplied with fresh water through an extensive system of irrigation channels and fountains, which brought water from nearby springs to the residents of Machu Picchu. Despite its impressive architecture and engineering, Machu Picchu was abandoned by the Incas only a century after it was built, around the time of the Spanish conquest of the Inca Empire in the 16th century. The reasons for its abandonment remain unclear, though some scholars suggest that the city's isolation made it difficult to sustain, or that it may have been abandoned as the Inca Empire collapsed under the weight of Spanish invasion and internal strife. Whatever the reason, Machu Picchu remained hidden from the outside world, forgotten by all except for a few local farmers who knew of its existence. When Hiram Bingham stumbled upon Machu Picchu in 1911, he was on an expedition searching for the lost city of Vilcabamba, the last stronghold of the Incas during their resistance against the Spanish. Though he did not find Vilcabamba, Bingham was stunned by the sight of Machu Picchu, which was remarkably well preserved despite its centuries of abandonment. The lush vegetation that had overgrown the site was cleared, revealing the stunning stone buildings and terraces that we see today. Machu Picchu's discovery sparked widespread interest in the Inca civilization, and it quickly became one of the most iconic symbols of Peru's rich cultural heritage. Today, it is recognized as a UNESCO World Heritage Site and one of the new 7 wonders of the world, attracting millions of visitors each year who make the trek to experience its beauty and mystery firsthand. Despite its popularity, much about Machu Picchu remains a mystery. While archaeologists have uncovered much about its construction and the daily lives of its inhabitants, many questions still linger. For instance, there is no clear record of why the city was built in such a remote location or why it was abandoned so quickly after its completion. Additionally, despite being a prominent symbol of the Inca Empire, Machu Picchu was not mentioned in any of the Spanish chronicles from the time of the conquest, suggesting that it may have been intentionally kept secret or that its significance was known only to a select few within Inca society. Machu Picchu stands as a reminder of the ingenuity and sophistication of the Inca civilization. It is a place where history, architecture, and the natural world converge, offering a glimpse into a past that still holds many secrets. For those who visit, the site evokes a sense of wonder and reverence, as if the ancient spirits of the Incas still linger among the clouds and mountains. The enduring allure of Machu Picchu lies not only in its physical beauty but in the questions it raises about the people who built it and the world they lived in. As archaeologists continue to study the site and as new discoveries are made, the story of Machu Picchu is still being written, adding to its mystique as one of the greatest lost cities ever found. The Lost City of Z, the Amazon's hidden civilization. Deep in the heart of the Amazon rainforest, surrounded by dense jungle and perilous rivers, lies the legend of a mysterious lost city known as Z. The search for this fabled city, believed to be home to a great and advanced civilization, has captivated explorers, adventurers, and archaeologists for centuries. The most famous of these explorers was Percy Fawcett, a British adventurer who became obsessed with finding the lost city of Z, convinced that its discovery would rewrite the history of ancient civilizations in South America. Fawcett's quest for Z remains one of the greatest unsolved mysteries of the Amazon, marked by adventure, danger, and tragedy. The legend of the lost city of Z has its roots in the early 20th century, though stories of hidden cities in the Amazon had circulated long before then. Indigenous peoples of the Amazon told tales of great cities filled with riches far beyond the reach of modern explorers. These stories, combined with the European fascination for lost treasures and civilizations, fueled speculation about a city of immense wealth and grandeur hidden in the jungle. The dense, largely uncharted terrain of the Amazon made it easy to believe that a sophisticated civilization could have once flourished there, its remains swallowed up by the impenetrable rainforest over the centuries. Percy Fawcett, an experienced British surveyor and explorer, first became interested in the possibility of a lost civilization in the Amazon after a series of expeditions to map the region in the early 1900s. He became convinced that the Amazon was not just a vast wilderness but had once been home to an advanced and sophisticated culture, capable of building monumental cities. Fawcett's belief was fueled by his discovery of a document known as Manuscript 512, housed in the National Library of Brazil, which described the ruins of an ancient city deep in the Brazilian rainforest. Written by a Portuguese explorer in the 18th century, the manuscript described a lost city with towering stone structures, wide streets, and advanced architectural features that seemed impossible for a civilization thought to have been primitive by European standards. Based on this manuscript and other pieces of evidence he had gathered, Fawcett formulated a theory that there had once been a large, complex society deep within the Amazon, which he referred to as Z. He imagined Z as a city of immense wealth and architectural grandeur, built by a highly organized civilization that had long since disappeared. This vision of Z became Fawcett's obsession, and he dedicated the rest of his life to finding it. In 1920, after years of preparation, Fawcett launched his most famous and ultimately tragic expedition in search of Z. Accompanied by his son Jack and another companion, Raleigh Rimmel, Fawcett ventured deep into the Amazon, disappearing into the jungle and leaving behind only a few cryptic letters and reports. The last confirmed sighting of Fawcett and his team was in May 1925, near the upper reaches of the Xingu River in Brazil. After that, they vanished without a trace. The disappearance of Percy Fawcett remains one of the greatest unsolved mysteries in the history of exploration. Over the years, numerous expeditions have been launched to find out what happened to Fawcett and his companions, but none have been able to provide definitive answers. Some theories suggest that Fawcett and his team were killed by hostile indigenous tribes, while others speculate that they may have succumbed to the harsh conditions of the jungle, including disease or starvation. There are even more far-fetched theories that suggest Fawcett chose to stay in the jungle, having found the hidden city and decided to live among its people, never to return to the outside world. Despite the mysteries surrounding Fawcett's fate, his search for Z sparked renewed interest in the possibility of ancient civilizations in the Amazon. For much of the 20th century, the dominant view among archaeologists and historians was that the Amazon rainforest, with its poor soil and challenging environment, could not have supported large, complex societies. The idea that the Amazon was home to anything other than small, nomadic groups of indigenous peoples was largely dismissed. However, in recent years, new archaeological discoveries have begun to challenge this view. Evidence of ancient settlements and complex societies in the Amazon has been uncovered, suggesting that the rainforest may have been home to advanced cultures long before the arrival of Europeans. The discovery of large geoglyphs, enormous earthworks in the form of geometric shapes, suggests that significant human populations once inhabited the region and engaged in sophisticated construction and land management practices. Additionally, the use of LiDAR, light detection and ranging technology has revealed previously hidden structures and agricultural systems beneath the jungle canopy, further supporting the idea that ancient civilizations thrived in the Amazon. One of the most significant discoveries related to this new understanding of the Amazon is the concept of terra preta, or black earth, a type of highly fertile, man-made soil created by indigenous peoples. This soil, rich in nutrients and carbon, allowed for intensive agriculture in regions where natural soil quality was poor, suggesting that ancient Amazonians were skilled at transforming their environment to sustain large populations. While no definitive evidence of Fawcett's lost city of Z has been found, the idea that advanced civilizations once flourished in the Amazon is no longer considered far-fetched. The emerging picture of the Amazon's ancient history is one of complexity and innovation, with indigenous cultures developing sophisticated techniques to thrive in one of the world's most challenging environments. Pompeii, the city frozen in time. Few archaeological sites have captured the world's imagination quite like Pompeii, the ancient Roman city buried under volcanic ash following the catastrophic eruption of Mount Vesuvius in 79 CE. What makes Pompeii unique is that the city was not just destroyed, it was perfectly preserved, frozen in time for nearly 1,700 years. The sudden nature of its destruction allowed archaeologists to uncover an unparalleled snapshot of daily life in the Roman Empire, revealing not only the city's grandeur but also its everyday details, down to the food people ate and the graffiti they scrawled on walls. Pompeii was a bustling city located in the Bay of Naples, a prosperous hub for trade and agriculture. It had a population of around 11,000 people at its peak, many of whom were wealthy Romans who enjoyed the benefits of living in a scenic and strategically important region. The city was adorned with magnificent villas, temples, baths, and an amphitheater, showcasing the architectural and cultural sophistication of Roman society. Pompeii's streets were lined with shops, workshops, taverns, and bakeries, giving it the vibrant character of a thriving urban center. Life in Pompeii came to a sudden and terrifying end on August 24, 79 CE, when Mount Vesuvius erupted with unimaginable force. The eruption sent a massive plume of volcanic ash, pumice, and gases high into the air, which rained down on the city, burying it under several meters of debris. Many residents fled in panic, but those who remained were caught in the disaster, overwhelmed by pyroclastic flows, superheated clouds of gas and ash that swept through the city at incredible speeds, reaching temperatures of up to 1,000 degrees Celsius. The eruption of Vesuvius was so sudden and violent that it entombed Pompeii and neighboring towns like Herculaneum, preserving them almost exactly as they were on the day of the catastrophe. Pompeii was buried under a thick layer of ash, while Herculaneum was buried in mud and lava flows. Over time, the cities were forgotten, their memories surviving only in ancient texts, such as the eyewitness accounts of Pliny the Younger, who described the disaster from a safe distance across the bay. It wasn't until 1599 that the first remains of Pompeii were accidentally discovered during the construction of an underground water channel. However, serious excavations did not begin until 1748, when Spanish engineer Joaquín de Alcubierre began to unearth parts of the city. Since then, archaeological work has continued almost continuously, revealing a treasure trove of artifacts, buildings, and human remains that provide unparalleled insight into Roman life. One of the most haunting aspects of Pompeii's destruction is the discovery of plaster casts of its victims. When the city was buried in ash, the bodies of the people who died decomposed, leaving voids in the ash layers. In the 19th century, archaeologists developed a technique to pour plaster into these voids, creating detailed casts of the victims in their final moments. These casts show men, women, and children frozen in positions of panic, clutching loved ones, or shielding themselves from the deadly ash and gas. The casts give a human face to the disaster and have become some of the most iconic images associated with Pompeii. The preservation of Pompeii has allowed historians and archaeologists to study the city's layout, architecture, and social structure in extraordinary detail. Pompeii was a typical Roman city, with a well-organized grid of streets and public buildings, including the Forum, baths, and temples dedicated to Roman gods like Jupiter and Apollo. The city's amphitheater was one of the oldest and best preserved in the Roman Empire, capable of holding up to 20,000 spectators for gladiatorial games and other public events. Private life in Pompeii is equally well documented through the excavation of its homes, from the opulent villas of the wealthy elite to the more modest dwellings of the working class. These homes were often decorated with vivid frescoes depicting scenes from mythology, nature, and everyday life, showcasing the artistic and cultural richness of the city. One of the most famous houses in Pompeii is the House of the Vetii, a large villa with stunning wall paintings that illustrate the wealth and taste of its owners. Pompeii also provides valuable insights into the daily lives of its inhabitants, from the food they ate to the activities they enjoyed. Carbonized loaves of bread were found in the ovens of bakeries, along with jars of preserved fruits, nuts, and grains. Public fountains and bathhouses reveal the importance of cleanliness and hygiene in Roman society, while taverns and brothels offer a glimpse into the entertainment and social life of the city. Even graffiti etched onto the walls of buildings provides a snapshot of the humor, gossip, and political opinions of Pompeii's residents. Despite the wealth and beauty of Pompeii, it was not without its social divisions. The city had a clear hierarchy, with wealthy landowners and merchants living in luxurious villas, while slaves and freedmen worked in fields, shops, and homes. The inscriptions and tombstones found throughout the city reflect this social stratification, revealing a complex society that was both prosperous and deeply unequal. The sudden destruction of Pompeii, while tragic, has given historians an extraordinary window into the past. Unlike other ancient cities that were destroyed by war or slowly decayed over time, Pompeii was preserved almost exactly as it was on the day it was buried. This allows us to understand Roman urban life in a way that is not possible with other sites. It is as if time stopped, and every detail of the city's daily life was frozen in place. Today, Pompeii is one of the most visited archaeological sites in the world, drawing millions of tourists each year who come to walk its ancient streets and marvel at its ruins. The city of Petra, a hidden kingdom in the desert. Nestled deep within the rugged mountains and desert canyons of southern Jordan lies the ancient city of Petra, one of the most remarkable archaeological sites in the world. Known as the Rose-Red City due to the color of its stone-carved buildings, Petra was once the capital of the powerful Nabatean kingdom. For centuries, this mysterious city remained hidden from the outside world, concealed by its remote location and the towering cliffs that surround it. Rediscovered in the early 19th century, Petra has since been recognized as one of the most important and iconic cities of the ancient world, a marvel of human ingenuity and a testament to the Nabatean skill as traders, architects, and engineers. The story of Petra begins with the Nabateans, a nomadic Arab tribe that rose to prominence around the 4th century BCE. The Nabateans were highly skilled in trade and became wealthy by controlling the incense trade routes that stretched from the Arabian Peninsula to the Mediterranean. Their strategic location allowed them to establish Petra as a crucial hub for caravans transporting valuable goods such as spices, silk, and frankincense. Over time, Petra grew into a thriving city, renowned for its wealth and its ability to control the flow of goods across the desert. What makes Petra truly extraordinary, however, is its unique architecture. The Nabateans carved their city directly into the sandstone cliffs that dominate the region, creating monumental buildings, tombs, and temples that blend seamlessly with the natural landscape. The most famous of these structures is the Alcazar, or the Treasury, a towering facade carved into the rock face that greets visitors as they emerge from the narrow canyon known as the Sick, the main entrance to the city. The Treasury, with its intricate carvings and towering columns, is an awe-inspiring sight, believed to have been built in the 1st century CE as a royal tomb or possibly a temple. Petra's rock-cut architecture is a defining feature of the city, but the Nabateans' engineering skills extended far beyond their ability to carve impressive monuments. One of their greatest achievements was the construction of a sophisticated water management system that allowed them to thrive in the arid desert environment. Using a network of cisterns, canals, and terraces, the Nabateans were able to capture and store water from the surrounding mountains, ensuring a reliable supply of water for the city's inhabitants even during periods of drought. This advanced water system not only supported the city's growing population but also allowed Petra to flourish as a center of agriculture, with terraced gardens and vineyards dotting the landscape. Petra's wealth and strategic importance did not go unnoticed by the great empires of the ancient world. In 106 CE, the Roman Empire annexed the Nabatean kingdom, incorporating Petra into the Roman province of Arabia Petrea. Under Roman rule, Petra continued to prosper as a major trading hub, and the Romans added their own architectural contributions to the city, including the construction of colonnaded streets, public baths, and a large amphitheater capable of seating over 4,000 spectators. The influence of Roman architecture can still be seen in many of Petra's surviving structures, blending seamlessly with the original Nabatean designs. However, by the 4th century CE, Petra's importance as a trading hub began to decline. The rise of sea trade routes reduced the significance of the overland caravan routes that had once made Petra so prosperous, and a series of earthquakes weakened the city's infrastructure, leading to its gradual abandonment. By the early medieval period, Petra had largely faded from memory, known only to local Bedouin tribes who kept the city's secrets hidden from the outside world. Petra remained forgotten by the Western world until 1812, when Swiss explorer Johann Ludwig Burckhardt, disguised as an Arab traveler, rediscovered the city while searching for the rumored tomb of the biblical prophet Aaron. Burckhardt's discovery of Petra sparked a wave of interest among European explorers and archaeologists, and over the next 2 centuries, the city was slowly uncovered, revealing its stunning monuments and intricate architecture to the world. Today, Petra is recognized as one of the most significant archaeological sites in the world, a UNESCO World Heritage Site, and one of the new 7 wonders of the world. Its allure lies not only in its breathtaking beauty but also in the mysteries that still surround it. Despite decades of excavation and study, much about Petra's history and the Nabateans remains unknown. For example, the exact purpose of many of Petra's buildings, including the treasury and the monastery, remains a topic of debate among scholars. Were they used as tombs, temples, or places of worship? Or did they serve some other ceremonial or political function? Another enduring mystery of Petra is the fate of the Nabateans themselves. While they left behind one of the most impressive cities of the ancient world, the Nabateans' culture, language, and writing remain poorly understood. The city's abandonment and the subsequent assimilation of the Nabateans into the Roman Empire have left gaps in our knowledge about their society, religion, and way of life. One of the most intriguing aspects of Petra is its fusion of cultural influences. The Nabateans were skilled at blending the artistic and architectural traditions of the different civilizations they interacted with, including the Egyptians, Greeks, and Romans. This blending of styles can be seen in Petra's monumental buildings, which incorporate elements of Hellenistic, Roman, and Eastern architecture. This unique fusion reflects the cosmopolitan nature of Petra as a crossroads of cultures and a center of trade in the ancient world. Troy, myth and archaeology. The ancient city of Troy occupies a unique place in both history and myth. Immortalized in Homer's epic poems, the Iliad and the Odyssey, Troy is best known as the setting for the Trojan War, a legendary conflict between the Greeks and Trojans that has fascinated scholars, writers, and artists for centuries. For many years, the existence of Troy was believed to be purely a matter of myth, but archaeological discoveries in the late 19th century revealed that this fabled city was, in fact, real. The quest to uncover the truth behind Troy's history and the Trojan War has bridged the gap between myth and archaeology, offering tantalizing glimpses into a world long lost to time. The story of Troy begins with the Iliad, which tells the tale of the final year of the Trojan War. According to legend, the war was sparked by the abduction of Helen, the wife of the Spartan king Menelaus, by Paris, a prince of Troy. This act led to a massive Greek expedition to reclaim Helen, resulting in a decade-long siege of Troy. The Iliad describes the heroic deeds of warriors like Achilles, Hector, and Odysseus, culminating in the famous ruse of the Trojan horse, which allowed the Greeks to infiltrate the city and bring about its destruction. For centuries, scholars debated whether the Trojan War and the city of Troy were based on actual historical events or were purely the product of Greek mythology. The ancient Greeks themselves believed that the Trojan War had taken place, and various classical writers, such as Herodotus and Strabo, mention Troy in their works. However, no physical evidence of the city's existence was found for thousands of years, leading many to believe that Troy was merely a literary invention. That changed in the 1870s, when Heinrich Schliemann, a German archaeologist and passionate believer in the historicity of the Trojan War, began excavating a site in northwestern Turkey known as Hazarlik. Based on ancient descriptions of Troy's location, Schliemann was convinced that Hazarlik was the site of the ancient city. His excavations revealed the remains of a series of cities built one on top of the other, dating back thousands of years. Among these layers of settlements, Schliemann claimed to have found the ruins of Homeric Troy. Schliemann's discovery was a major breakthrough in archaeology, but it was also controversial. His methods were often destructive, and he dug through multiple layers of the site without fully understanding their significance. Nevertheless, his work brought renewed interest to the search for Troy and the possibility that the Trojan War might have been based on a real historical event. Schliemann even claimed to have discovered Priam's treasure, a cache of gold and artifacts that he believed belonged to the legendary Trojan king, though this attribution has since been questioned by scholars. Further excavations at Hazarlik, carried out by subsequent archaeologists, have revealed that the site was continuously inhabited for over 4,000 years, from the Bronze Age to the Roman period. The settlement that most closely matches the description of Homeric Troy is believed to have existed during the Late Bronze Age, around the 13th century BCE. This city, known as Troy 7, shows evidence of having been destroyed by war, leading some archaeologists to suggest that it may be the real city that inspired the Trojan War myth. The historical reality of the Trojan War itself remains a topic of debate. While there is no definitive proof that the war occurred exactly as described in the Iliad, many scholars believe that the legend may be based on a real conflict that took place in the Late Bronze Age. During this period, the Mycenaean Greeks were a powerful civilization, engaged in trade and warfare across the Aegean Sea and the eastern Mediterranean. It is possible that Troy, located near the strategic Dardanelles Strait, was a wealthy city that controlled access to vital trade routes, making it a tempting target for Mycenaean expansion. Archaeological evidence suggests that Troy 7 was a fortified city with substantial walls, much like the city described in the Iliad. There are signs of destruction by fire and traces of a siege, which could correspond to the final events of the Trojan War. However, the precise nature of this conflict, whether it was a localized skirmish, a broader regional war, or even a struggle for control of trade routes, remains unclear. Despite the uncertainty surrounding the historical accuracy of the Trojan War, the city of Troy has become a symbol of the intersection between myth and history. The excavation of Troy has given us valuable insights into the life and culture of the ancient Anatolian peoples, as well as the broader geopolitical landscape of the Late Bronze Age. The city's strategic location near the Dardanelles made it a key player in the trade networks of the ancient world, and its wealth and importance likely contributed to its legendary status. The myth of Troy also holds a special place in the development of Western literature and culture. Homer's Iliad is one of the foundational texts of ancient Greek literature and has influenced countless works of art, literature, and philosophy. The themes of heroism, honor, fate, and the tragic consequences of war that are explored in the Iliad continue to resonate with readers and audiences today. In addition to Homer's epics, the story of Troy has been retold and reimagined throughout history, from Virgil's Aeneid, which describes the flight of the Trojan hero Aeneas and the founding of Rome, to modern adaptations in books, films, and television series. The image of the Trojan horse as a symbol of deception and cunning has become ingrained in popular culture, and the tragic love story of Helen and Paris continues to captivate storytellers and audiences alike. The Mayan cities, Palenque, Tikal, and the mystery of their decline. The Mayan civilization was one of the most advanced and enigmatic cultures of the ancient world, known for its achievements in mathematics, astronomy, architecture, and writing. At the height of their power, the Maya ruled over vast cities in what is now Mexico, Guatemala, Belize, and Honduras, with monumental structures and thriving urban centers scattered throughout the dense jungles of Mesoamerica. Two of the most famous cities, Palenque and Tikal, stand as testament to the grandeur and sophistication of this civilization. Yet, despite their brilliance, the Maya experienced a mysterious and dramatic decline that has puzzled historians and archaeologists for centuries. The city of Palenque, located in modern-day Chiapas, Mexico, was one of the most important Mayan centers during the classical period, 250 to 900 CE. Known for its elaborate palaces, temples, and aqueducts, Palenque was a hub of Mayan culture and power. The city's most famous ruler, Pacal the Great, reigned for nearly 70 years, from 615 to 683 CE. Under his leadership, Palenque reached its architectural and artistic zenith, with Pacal commissioning the construction of the city's most iconic structure, the Temple of the Inscriptions. This grand pyramid, which served as Pacal's tomb, is one of the largest and most intricately decorated of its kind, and it contains the longest hieroglyphic inscription ever found in a Mayan site, detailing the city's history and Pacal's reign. In addition to its architectural achievements, Palenque was renowned for its artistic accomplishments, with intricate relief carvings and sculptures that depicted Mayan rulers, gods, and religious ceremonies. The city also had an advanced system of water management, using canals and aqueducts to direct fresh water throughout its urban core, a remarkable feat considering the region's unpredictable rainfall patterns. To the south, in modern-day Guatemala, lies the great city of Tikal, one of the most powerful and influential cities of the Mayan world. Tikal was a sprawling metropolis, home to tens of thousands of people, and it was known for its massive temples and pyramids that rose above the jungle canopy. The Temple of the Great Jaguar and the Temple of the Masks, towering over 44 meters tall, are among the most iconic structures of Mayan architecture, showcasing the engineering prowess of the Maya. Tikal was also a center of political and military power. It dominated much of the surrounding region and engaged in complex alliances, rivalries, and wars with other Mayan city-states. Tikal's rulers, known as Ajah, were considered divine kings who ruled with the blessing of the gods, and they oversaw not only the city's political affairs but also its religious rituals and ceremonies. The Mayan cities were deeply intertwined with their religion and cosmology. The Maya believed in a complex pantheon of gods and had a sophisticated understanding of the movements of the stars and planets. Their temples were often aligned with celestial events, such as the solstices and equinoxes, and they developed one of the most accurate calendrical systems in the ancient world. This calendar was based on a combination of lunar, solar, and planetary cycles, and it played a central role in the timing of religious ceremonies, agricultural practices, and even warfare. Despite the success and advancements of cities like Palenque and Tikal, the Mayan civilization experienced a sudden and dramatic collapse during the 9th century CE. The cities that had once been thriving centers of culture, trade, and power were abandoned, their monumental structures left to be reclaimed by the jungle. The reasons for the Maya collapse remain one of the greatest mysteries in archaeology, and scholars have proposed a variety of theories to explain this enigmatic decline. One of the leading theories is that the collapse of the Mayan civilization was driven by environmental factors, particularly severe droughts that occurred in the 9th century. Evidence from lake sediments and other geological data suggests that the region experienced prolonged droughts during this period, which would have had devastating effects on the Mayan cities, many of which relied on intricate systems of rainwater collection for their water supply. With water becoming increasingly scarce, agricultural production may have plummeted, leading to widespread famine and social unrest. Another factor that may have contributed to the Mayan collapse is warfare. The Maya were not a unified empire, but rather a collection of independent city-states that often competed with one another for resources, territory, and prestige. As cities like Tikal and Calakmul engaged in prolonged conflicts, the resulting strain on resources and infrastructure could have weakened their ability to withstand other challenges, such as drought or disease. Archaeological evidence from some Mayan cities shows signs of destruction and abandonment, suggesting that warfare and internal strife may have played a significant role in their decline. Social and political factors may have also been at play. The Maya had a highly stratified society, with powerful ruling elites who control vast resources and wealth. As environmental pressures mounted, the demands placed on the lower classes to provide food, labor, and tribute may have become unsustainable. Revolts or rebellions against the ruling elites could have contributed to the breakdown of the social order, leading to the abandonment of cities and the collapse of centralized political authority. It is likely that the Mayan collapse was the result of a combination of factors rather than a single cause. Environmental stress, warfare, political instability, and social upheaval all played a role in the gradual decline of the Mayan cities. Legendary cities yet to be found, Shangri-La and other myths. Throughout history, the allure of hidden and legendary cities has captivated explorers, adventurers, and dreamers alike. These cities, often described as paradises or realms of untold wealth and wisdom, have eluded discovery for centuries, yet their legends persist in human imagination. One of the most famous of these mythical places is Shangri-La, a hidden utopia nestled in the mountains of the East, but it is far from the only city that has inspired stories of lost paradises. From Shambhala in Tibetan Buddhist tradition to the city of the Caesars in South American folklore, these legendary cities represent not just the unknown but the ultimate quest for something greater, whether it be eternal life, enlightenment, or untold riches. The legend of Shangri-La was popularized by James Hilton's 1933 novel Lost Horizon, in which he described a hidden, mystical valley in the mountains of Tibet, where people live in harmony, untouched by the passage of time or the chaos of the outside world. In Hilton's vision, Shangri-La was a place of serenity, wisdom, and near immortality, where ancient knowledge was preserved and humanity's higher ideals were nurtured. The novel struck a chord with readers, and the name Shangri-La quickly entered the popular lexicon, becoming synonymous with any utopian paradise secluded from the troubles of modern life. Although Shangri-La is a fictional creation, it draws heavily on the older legend of Shambhala, a mythical kingdom from Tibetan Buddhist tradition. Shambhala, like Shangri-La, is said to be hidden in the high mountains, protected from the evils of the world. According to Buddhist teachings, Shambhala is a place of purity, wisdom, and peace, inhabited by enlightened beings. It is described as a perfect society, where spiritual knowledge is passed down through the ages and where suffering and ignorance have been vanquished. Some traditions suggest that Shambhala will one day reveal itself to the world when the forces of greed, hatred, and delusion are at their strongest, and it will become the birthplace of a new golden age of enlightenment. The search for Shambhala has intrigued scholars, mystics, and explorers for centuries. Many have speculated about its possible location, with some suggesting it lies in the mountains of Tibet, while others have placed it in India, Nepal, or even Mongolia. Despite the lack of physical evidence for its existence, the legend of Shambhala continues to inspire those seeking a deeper connection to spirituality and the mysteries of the universe. For many, it represents not just a physical place, but a state of consciousness, a symbol of inner peace and ultimate truth. In South American folklore, the story of the city of the Caesars, also known as Trapolanda or Lin Lin, has tantalized explorers for centuries. Said to be located somewhere in the remote regions of Patagonia, this legendary city was believed to be filled with untold riches, gold, and silver, much like the myth of El Dorado. According to legend, the city of the Caesars was founded by survivors of a Spanish shipwreck or by the descendants of Incan kings who fled south after the fall of their empire. Hidden deep in the mountains, the city was said to be protected by supernatural forces, making it impossible to find by those unworthy of its treasures. Explorers throughout the 16th and 17th centuries embarked on perilous journeys into the wilds of Patagonia in search of this fabled city, hoping to find wealth beyond imagination. Yet, despite numerous expeditions, no trace of the city of the Caesars has ever been found, leading many to dismiss it as a myth. However, like other lost cities, the city of the Caesars remains a potent symbol of the human desire for discovery, adventure, and the hope that somewhere, untouched by time and history, there exists a paradise waiting to be found. Another fascinating example of a lost city that has captivated the imagination is Iram of the Pillars, mentioned in both Arabian mythology and the Quran. Iram is described as a magnificent city with towering pillars, known for its beauty and wealth. According to legend, it was built by the people of Ad, a tribe mentioned in the Quran as being disobedient to God. As a result of their sins, the city was destroyed, buried in the sands of the Arabian desert, never to be seen again. The story of Iram was long considered a myth, until the discovery of an ancient city near Ubar in Oman's Rub al-Khali Desert in the early 1990s. Some have speculated that this archaeological find could be linked to the Iram of legend, though no definitive proof has been established. These legendary cities are not just about wealth or material gain. Many represent humanity's yearning for a utopian existence, a place where knowledge, peace, and harmony reign. The stories of these cities often emerge from a deeper cultural need for escape, salvation, or the preservation of ancient wisdom in the face of a changing world. While explorers may have sought gold or riches, the true treasure in these stories is often spiritual, enlightenment, inner peace, or the return to a golden age of balance between humanity and nature. Though none of these legendary cities have ever been conclusively found, their legacies continue to inspire both the curious and the hopeful. The search for Shangri-La, Shambhala, the city of the Caesars, and other lost paradises reflects the human desire to push beyond the boundaries of the known world, to seek something greater than ourselves, and to imagine that somewhere, hidden from view, lies a place where all our highest ideals have already been achieved. As we conclude our whispered journey through the rise and fall of lost civilizations, we are reminded of how much of our past remains hidden beneath the sands of time. These civilizations, once thriving and full of life, have left behind only fragments of their stories. From the advanced engineering of the Indus Valley to the grand cities of the Minoans, the intricate stone carvings of the Olmecs, and the mysterious disappearance of the Anasazi, these cultures continue to intrigue and inspire us. While some of these lost civilizations have been partially uncovered through the diligent work of archaeologists and historians, many questions remain unanswered. What caused their decline? How did they achieve such remarkable advancements? And what can their stories teach us about the fragility of human achievement and the impermanence of even the greatest empires? The allure of lost civilizations lies not only in their mystery but in what they represent, a world that was once filled with possibilities, where human creativity and ingenuity flourished in ways we are still discovering today. They remind us of the incredible resilience of human societies and the enduring impact they leave on the world even after they have vanished. As we whisper our goodbyes to these ancient peoples, we reflect on the beauty and complexity of their legacies. The ruins, artifacts, and myths they left behind continue to fuel our curiosity and inspire new generations of explorers and researchers to uncover the secrets of the past. Thank you for joining me on this exploration of lost civilizations. If you've enjoyed this journey, please don't forget to like, subscribe, and share your thoughts in the comments below. There are many more stories of the past waiting to be whispered, and I look forward to having you with me on the next adventure. Until then, may the mysteries of history continue to inspire your imagination. Good night.